hour now. Rand Paul says he's going to filibuster everything that comes to the Senate if he doesn't get a balanced budget amendment. In other words, an amendment to the United States Constitution that says that the government can't spend more money than it takes in taxes. Now, most states have these. And so the way that they do it is, the way they get around is like what Tim Pawlenty did in Minnesota, is you basically bury time bombs, fiscal time bombs, so that the next administration, current governor of Minnesota, comes in and inherits this multi-billion-dollar debt that sort of satisfied the balanced budget amendment in the state constitution, but just moved the liabilities off to future years. There's always ways around it. But Rand Paul thinks he's got a magic bullet. I mean, libertarians always think they got a magic bullet, and he thinks this is it. A, it's not going to happen. B, it'll never get passed. C, maybe the Democrats will go along with it, knowing that 2/3 of the House and Senate and 3/4 of the states will never go along with it. Although maybe that would happen, and if it did, it would probably mean the end of the dollar. Excuse me. Pardon my sneeze here. It mean the end of the dollar as the U.S. as the world's reserve currency, because you can't manage your own dollar. We've had debt in this country literally since the founding of the country. We were born in debt. We were born in debt to France, and you can make a strong argument that it's a good thing for a nation to have debt, because then it can sell treasuries for people who want to invest in the country. If you want to buy if you're an investor, if you've got a pension fund, or if you've got your retirement money and you want to put it someplace totally safe, the safest place to put it is in U.S. debt. Now, if you've got a balanced budget amendment and there is no U.S. debt, where are you going to invest that? Well, you could buy Japanese debt. I mean, is that what we're going to do? So, but anyhow, here's Rand Paul promoting this insanity.
We've had not 1 minute of debate about the debt ceiling in any committee. We haven't had a budget in 2 years. We haven't had an appropriations bill in 2 years. So I'm part of the freshman group in the Senate that's saying no more. We're not going to let them go to any issue if we have a say in it. So next week, we will filibuster until we talk about the debt ceiling, until we talk about proposals. And many of us in the conservative wing are going to present our own proposal next week, and that is to raise the debt ceiling. We will actually vote in favor of raising the debt ceiling next week if we can, but it'll be contingent upon passing a balanced budget amendment.
Right. I'm telling you, the David Brooks pointed out in an op-ed, the conservative columnist David Brooks, he's been on this program, columnist for the New York Times, pointed out in an op-ed, the Republican Party has become not really a serious political party anymore because of wackadoodles like Rand Paul. Because of them actually having power, because of the Tea Party caucus in the House being big enough to actually have some power. Because when you get one of them into the Senate, an individual senator can put holds on things and stop things. One man or woman. And meanwhile, over the Financial Times, as Gideon Marachman writes, in Washington, they're arguing about the debt ceiling. In Brussels, this is where the European Union is headquartered, is in Brussels. That's the head of the EU, right? All these European countries. In Brussels, they're staring into a debt abyss. The basic problem is the same. America and Europe are in the same sinking boat. He says this should be obvious. On both sides of the Atlantic, what has caused it? Unsustainable and dangerous booms in credit. In other words, we didn't regulate the banksters. Phil Gramm and his wife, Wendy, who was on the board of directors of Enron and a lobbyist for Ken Lay, in 1999 and 2000, got passed through the Commodity Futures Modernization Act and Gramm-Leach-Bliley, which blew up our ability to regulate the banksters. Europe said, that's cool, let's do that same thing. Our banksters went nuts, their banksters went nuts. The banksters looted both the United States and Europe. And here's the proof of how bizarre this is. There's all this talk about the EU is going to bail out Greece. And Angela Merkel, the chancellor of Germany, is like digging her feet in. I'm digging my feet in here. We're going to, Greece, if our taxpayer money from Germany is going to go to pay off Greek bondholders, then Greece has got to sell the Acropolis or sell naming rights to it, to BMW, Bavarian Motor Works, or Volkswagen, or some other German. You get this. What's going on right now in Europe? And let me just explain this in really, really straightforward terms so that you can. I know probably most of you already get this, but here's the language to use to explain to your next door neighbor or your brother-in-law who doesn't understand this stuff. Greece owes a bunch of money to banks because over the last 15 years, when the banks got deregulated, they went on an offering credit binge. Basically, they offered Greece one of those no-interest credit cards like you get in the mail. And Greece used it. They were getting these very low interest. Individual Greeks, the Greek government, they went on a borrowing binge. Because the banksters were saying, hey, borrow from us, it's cool, you can grow your economy. And then when the economy grows, you'll have increased tax collections. And with the increased tax collections, you can pay off the debt. And it didn't work out. The banksters' scheme blew up on them. So Greece owes all this money to the banksters. Banks in Germany, banks in the UK, banks in the United States, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. So what's happening right now is Germany and France and the other large European countries are taking taxpayer dollars. This is just like TARP. They're taking taxpayer dollars, loaning them to Greece so that Greece could pay off the banks so that the banksters won't lose their private jets and their mansions in Zurich, or their Swiss chalet, their ski chalet in Zurich, and their mansions on the Riviera. And do you get this? This is all about making the banksters whole. Financial Times, Sir Martin Jacob, Greece has no future within the Eurozone. This policy is firmly entrenched thanks to Eurozone leaders' focus on preserving the single currency and avoiding further turmoil in the banking system. It's all about saving the banksters. This is insane. It's time to say to the banksters, sorry, idiots. You came up with a bad plan, it blew up in your face, you're out of business. Some new bankster will come along and fill the void.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 866-987-THOM.
You know, Thomas Jefferson used to rant about banksters. Look out for the banksters. I mean, he didn't use that word. He was so right. 27 minutes past the hour. Back with your call.